Hello again, and welcome back to OnPage in the Cloud. Today we'll be trying out OnPage's new integration with AWS CloudWatch. CloudWatch is an AWS native service that allows you to monitor and manage activity happening in your cloud environment. For this demo, we'll create an integration with CloudWatch alarms. We'll configure an alarm to send us an OnPage when the number of items in our S3 bucket passes a certain threshold. To set up this integration, we'll be following the steps provided in OnPage's integration website. Here we see there's an integration for Amazon CloudWatch. Select Settings under the CloudWatch integration. Here you'll see the setup instructions which we'll follow in the AWS console. The first thing we need to do is create an SNS topic which will receive messages from CloudWatch. Then we'll associate that topic to an SNS subscription which will send those messages to OnPage. We'll start by logging into the AWS console and navigating to Simple Notification Service, or SNS. We're going to create a new SNS topic, so navigate to the Topics tab in the sidebar. Click Create Topic. On this screen, we'll set up the SNS topic. We'll be creating a standard type topic that we'll call OnPage. To align with security best practices, we're going to replace the default access policy with the one provided by OnPage. This will ensure that if an attacker gains access to your account, they won't be able to access your topic or intercept any messages it sends out. Be sure to paste in that access policy in the right spot in the policy document, and also make sure to replace the parameters such as region, account ID, and topic name with your corresponding region, account ID, and the topic name of OnPage. Then, go ahead and click Create Topic. You'll notice at the bottom there's a spot to associate a subscription. Because we don't have one, we're going to go ahead and click Create Subscription. You'll see here that the ARN for our OnPage topic has been filled in automatically. We're going to select a protocol of HTTPS, and we're going to paste in the endpoint that we find in the integration steps. Make sure that the Enable Raw Message Delivery checkbox remains unchecked. We'll leave all the other optional settings alone and click Create Subscription. Here, you'll see that the status is pending confirmation. That confirmation is going to happen automatically on the back end. So after a few seconds, you can refresh the page and see that the status changes to confirmed. Next, we're going to set up a trigger on the OnPage side that will interpret the message that comes in from AWS, construct an OnPage from the message, and send the OnPage to the desired user. On the right-hand side of the integration steps, you'll see the Triggers pane. Click Create New One. Here, we can set up all the customizations we want for our trigger, including the trigger name, the notification recipients, and the notification template. I'm going to have this trigger send notifications to my account, and for the sake of simplicity, my condition is just going to be my AWS account ID. So I go back into AWS, pull my account ID number, and paste it right into the condition. Also, for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to use the full template provided by OnPage. But just for your information, the notification that comes in from AWS is in a JSON format, so you can format your template accordingly. When you're done customizing your trigger, review all of your settings, and then go ahead and click Save on the bottom. Alright, now we have our trigger, so when AWS does send messages to OnPage, those messages will get relayed out to an OnPage user. Finally, we're going to create our CloudWatch alarm and test. You can see that I've brought up my phone on the left-hand side of the screen so that we can see when that OnPage does come in to my account. So we're back in the AWS console, and we're going to go right to CloudWatch. We'll click on Alarms in the Side tab, and then we'll go ahead and click Create Alarm. Now, CloudWatch alarms are all based off of metrics, so we need to select a metric that we're going to base our alarm off of. We'll click on the S3 service storage metrics, and then I'm just going to choose my config bucket, but I'm choosing the number of objects metrics. When we go ahead and click select metric, we're going to see a graph of that metric over time. We'll review all of the settings over here on the right. They all look fine. And then we're going to set our threshold. Now, I'm going to set a threshold of 740 objects in my bucket, which I know is lower than what we already have, just because this is going to quickly trigger our alarm to go into the alarm state and then send us that on page. Then we go ahead and click next, and then here is where we hook up our CloudWatch alarm to the SNS topic we made before. We're going to leave all these defaults and enter in the name of our SNS topic, and you can see that the endpoint automatically shows up, so we can verify that this is indeed the right topic. We then click next. We give our alarm a descriptive name. Remember, this is going to show up in our on-page message that we get, along with a good description. Then we click next again. We review all of our settings for our alarm, and we click create alarm on the bottom. Now the alarm is going to start out with insufficient data, but once we refresh it, we'll see it goes immediately into the alarm state. And here comes my on page on the left-hand side. You can see that our on-page message has that entire full template that we specified earlier, including specifics on the alarm, the SNS topic, etc. So that's it for today. We successfully integrated OnPage with AWS CloudWatch. Thanks for watching.